The most common mistakes we see, the misused transitive verb, and other grammar issues. I'm Karen Beery with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Pegg Thomas, multi-award winning author and editor, and we are two editors for 5 minutes.
And you might have noticed things are looking a little different. We were having some issues with our previous video program, so now we're trying a different one. Well, we'll see how this goes. But we're gonna start. Peg's got a 5 minute rant. Peg, go.
I have a really good rant because I've been seeing this transitive verb used incorrectly over and over and over again in multiple times in the same manuscript and across multiple manuscripts. And my guess is somebody tried it, thought it was cool, somebody read it, thought it was cool, and pretty soon it took off throughout, especially Christian fiction. But it's the word lower. Lower does not equal sit or sat. And I'm seeing it used as he went over beside her and lowered. But lower is a transitive verb, and so therefore it has to have an object. And I copied this right out of Merriam-Webster so that you could. I'm sorry, let me read from a Grammarly first on just a transitive verb. There are verbs that take an object, which means they include the receiver of the action in the sentence. The example they give, she gives a gift. The verb gives is transitive, and a gift is the direct object because it receives the action. Okay, so that's according to Grammarly. And Merriam-Webster says lower is a transitive verb. It means to let descend, to let down something, to depress as to direction of something, to reduce the height of something. You have to have the something in it or it doesn't make sense. Okay, so transitive verbs have to have the object. So you can say he went over to the bench and lowered himself. Perfectly fine English. But you can't say he went over to the bench and lowered because you haven't told the reader what he lowered. And it might seem like a little thing, but when you're reading through and it's just like a glitch in the sentence, the reader instinctively knows something's missing. Did he lower his arm? Did he lower his gaze? Did he lower himself? Did he lower a book to the bench? You haven't filled that in. So resist that temptation. Take a little piece of post-it note, put it by your computer, authors, that says lower, and then make the equal with a slash sign through it. So not equal, sit. Do not try to replace sit with lower. I realize we use sit and sat a lot, but you cannot replace them with something that is grammatically incorrect. It just sticks out like a sore thumb.
And that actually, I see that. I think that's what people are doing is they're trying not to use the same words over and over again. So I've seen this before where words are not being used completely appropriately in an attempt to say something in a different way. But here's the thing. When you try to stand out and you try to use a different word just so that you're different, it stands out, but in a bad way because sometimes you're using it incorrectly. It is much better to just say she sat and have people just forget you even wrote those words because they've just pictured it in their head and they can just go on with the story.
Yeah.
So, for the sake, when you're writing something and you decide to write it differently, just for the sake of being different, avoid that temptation, especially as editors. Peg, I can see it. Can you see those? I see them every time when I see something. I'm like, does that really mean what you think it means? My first thought is you're trying to be creative.
Yeah.
Just be boring. And I was gonna go on a little rant myself, but honestly, we all have our little nitpicky things. But I figured this would be a great time to encourage you if you are not the grammar queen. I am not a grammar queen. When people ask me to check for grammar, no, do not ask me.
When I mention grammar, her eyes glaze over.
I don't like grammar. I am a developmental editor. I'm a writing coach, but I know copy editors. So if you are struggling with the grammar portion, find a good copy editor. They are the ones who love grammar, who understand the difference between the transitive and the intransitive verbs. They think in terms of, is that the subject or the predicate? Is that the object of the set? I'm like Peg. I can't tell you what the name of the verb is, but I can tell you when I read that sentence, there's something off with it. It's not right. You're not using that word correctly, which I think is probably where a lot of people fall into. into that category. But so that's my plug. I will never be the greatest at grammar, and that's okay because I know copy editors who can take care of that for me.
And let's face it, there are even some AI programs like Pro Writing Aid, like Grammarly, that will help you find those mistakes.
They're not going to find all of them.
Nope, but
And
they will find some of them.
yes, and we'll actually talk about that later in a
Yes,
couple
we
of
will.
weeks.
That little
But
plug, stay
we
tuned.
have just met our 5 minutes, so we'll say
Gone so
goodbye for
fast.
now. I'm Karen Beery.
And I'm Peg Thomas, and we'll see you next time.